Hi everyone, this is Justine from Just Plans, and today I'm going to show you how to make functional stickers. So this is what it looks like when you open up Silhouette Studio. To start, I do want to move my registration marks to 0.5. This just gives me a bit more room to work with. So now I just want to think of what shapes I want to include on my functional stickers. So for me, I like having half scallops as well as date covers. So I'm just going to Google paint stroke clip art as well as scallop circle clip art to help me do that. So I've selected these two shapes and now I want to put them in a format that I can manipulate in Silhouette. So I'm going to do that with the trace panel. I'm going to select the trace area and you can see that whatever is going to be traced is highlighted in yellow. So for me, I like to capture all those little small spaces within the paint stroke. So I'm going to select not trace outer edge, but trace. And you'll see when I move the clip art that we did indeed capture those small spaces. I just like the look of it. It's just personal preference. Now for the scallop, I only want a half scallop, so I'm only going to select that portion of the circle, and then I'm going to select trace outer edge. So now we have our outlines, and I'm just going to resize them. I'm going to lock the aspect ratio and then change the width. I want this to fit within the column, so I'm going to just set it to 1.3 for now. And then for the scallop, I want it to span the entire width of the column, so that'll be 1.5. So we're going to treat these two shapes very differently. The scallop, that's going to be our cut line, whereas for the paint stroke, we're not going to use that for a cut line. That's just a design element. So for the scallop, I want to make a slightly larger scallop, which is where we're going to put the color, so that we have some bleed lines around our cut lines. So I'm going to use an offset. You can see by choosing that offset, we've made a slightly larger scallop. This is the one that I'm going to add color to with the fill panel. I'm going to make it a light pink. And then I'm also going to make sure that I change the outline of the shape to no color. That's really important when we go to cut. So now on to the paint stroke. Again, this is just going to be for color. I do think this is a little too small, so I'm going to resize it. And then now I'm going to add the color, so I'll make it that same light pink. And then again, I will change the outline to no color. And that's because I don't want my machine to cut around this paint stroke. Instead, I'm going to make a rectangle for those cut lines. That's really easy to do by selecting the rectangle shape on the left panel. Now I'm just going to resize it. I want the width to be 1.5 inches and then the height, I just chose 0.5 inches. You can make it whatever you want based on your preference. Now that I see this, the paint stroke is still a little too small, so I'm going to resize it. Now that I like that size, I have to make 7 of them for each day of the week. So I can either select both the paint stroke and the rectangle and copy and paste, or I can use the replicate function. So I'll select those, go to the replicate panel, and then press this button that goes to column of 4. That means that it's going to replicate it such that it ends up with a column of 4. And then I'm just going to press that twice to end up with 7. Now I'll add the days of the week, just adding some text here, highlighting it, changing it to whatever font I like. I'm going to select Fabulous, and then I'm just going to change the size so that it fits within the date cover. Similar to how we handled the paint stroke, I'm going to make the outline of this no color and then change the fill color, and I'm going to do black. Then I'm just going to take this and replicate it to make 7 total days. And then I'm going to align these days within the date covers. I'm going to just select all 7 of these days and then go to the transform panel and vertically space them so that they're all evenly spaced out onto the date covers. Now I'm just changing them to the correct wording. Now I'm selecting all of them together because I want to align them all on the right hand side. So back to the transform panel, and then I'm just going to select align right and then reposition them into the date cover. So this next step is optional, but I just do it because it makes it easier for me. I'm just going to select all the paint strokes. Now be careful not to select the rectangles, and I'm just going to group them. This allows me to change the color of the date covers or the paint strokes together as a group. Okay, so I'm just going to show you, select the whole group, pick a color, and then voila, they're all the same color. Now for the scallop, just make sure to be selecting the larger scallop, and then you can change the color of that just as easily. So I think from here you can see that it's super easy to replicate shapes as well as change the color of them. So now we can make some more shapes. You can make circles or whatever you want. I'm gonna make some polygons. So here's a pentagon. Then I'll show you how easily it is to add sides to this shape. There's a little slide rule kind of thing that you can slide to the left or the right to either decrease or increase the number of sides. So 6, 7, and 8 sides. Now similar to the scallop, I'm going to add the offset to 0.03. Gonna change the color of the larger shape so that the fill is whatever color I want and the outline is no color. Then I'm just gonna replicate them just for shits. And that's basically how you do it. I'm just gonna save this studio file now, and actually let me show you one more thing. If you can download a hex color tool in your browser so that if you find a pretty picture and you find a particular color that you want, you can identify the hex code for that color and you can use that hex code in Silhouette Studio. So here you just go to the fill panel, advanced options, and then you can just manually type that same hex code in there to get that exact same color. So I really like that trick. So yeah, those are the basics. From here, you can just go crazy, just be creative, do whatever shapes or colors that you want. I do also like to add a cut line around these sticker sheets. So I'm gonna add a rectangle here and change the outline to a color other than red. That's super important. So when we go to send to the silhouette, we'll press send here. Okay, so if you have a silhouette, then you probably know how to do this, but again, I'm just going to go through it for shits. If you go to the line tab, you can select how each color outline cuts. So for example, the red line, those are my sticker cut lines, so I don't want them to go through the entire thickness of the sticker sheet, obviously, so I'm going to make sure that I select a setting that gets me that, that result. And so Silhouette Studio does have preset materials, so you can select sticker paper white or whatever, but every machine is different and it's really going to be dependent on the paper that you use in your machine and your blade also. So that's just a good starting point to have. I am going to use the preset that I've defined. And then for the green line, I do want that to go through the entire thickness of the sheet. So I'm gonna select my setting that I've defined for that, and these are the settings, the force and speed, if that is helpful at all to you. But again, make sure it's custom to your machine and your paper. So that's basically it. Please comment below if you like this video. Thanks for watching. Bye!